Assalamu alaikum. Come with me on the spring equinox to connect with the four elements. The four elements being earth, air, fire, and water. Fire represents alchemy and passion. Water represents emotions and the collective consciousness. Air represents our mind, thoughts, and downloads. And earth represents our body, our health, and our material possessions, as well as our sense of stability. Firstly, the spring equinox marks a time of rebirth, surrender, and energy blossoming within our lives. In tropical astrology, the spring equinox marks the beginning of the new astrological year, as we move from the 12th house in Pisces to the first house in Aries. Aries is all about initiation, and it is also a fire sign. It also is the 4th month. That number 4 keeps coming up. This year is all about balance, harmony, and stability. And so, in order to connect with that energy, I wanted to connect to the four elements. Spring is always a special time for me, but especially this year, since it is my first year as a practicing Muslim, and it is also Ramadan, which I think is a great way to start the new astrological year, when you are in a state of spiritual discipline. Cleansing along with the energies of the year. In order to connect with the fire element, I went to a traditional Balinese performance of fire. While I was sitting there watching the performance, I set my intention to connect with the energy of fire. Number 2 was to connect with the air element. And I've been guided by Mother Gaia in the order in which I connect to these elements. They always popped up when it was time for me to connect. In order to connect with the element of air, I trekked up Mount Batur around 2 a.m. and we got to the peak at 5 a.m. I had enough time to pray and see the sunrise. Connecting to the earth element was a surprise for me because as we came down the mountain, it went from shrubs and grass to a full-blown forest, and I felt like I was in paradise. The final element that I connected with was water. I haven't been to a beach since 2022, and as soon as I stepped foot on the beach, I felt the energy of water calling my name. In order to connect with water, I just set my intention and I got into the water and allowed it to release the tension from me. Water also represents truth, and water holds memory. So it is a very good resource to use, especially if you communicate to it to help cleanse anything that you need to release and let go of. I said earlier that spring is always a special time for me. And this is because, trigger warning, 5 years ago, I attempted to commit suicide. Alhamdulillah, I'm very blessed to be here, breathing and still alive today. But every time I see the flowers in spring, it is a reminder that 5 years ago, I chose life. I chose to give myself a second chance, a chance to heal, a chance to achieve my dreams, and I will always honor that version of myself. That fateful day, I promised I would always pick myself back up, no matter how hard it gets. Any storm, I can weather. Any battle, I can win. I took an oath that day, and Allah led me back home to myself, and I can't say how grateful I am and blessed I feel to be here living out my dreams. The dreams that younger me had when I felt trapped in a life that didn't feel like my own. Trapped in a body that felt foreign to me, and entrapped by my mind that was my own worst enemy. Slowly but surely, throughout my life, my harsh inner critic became my best friend and strongest supporter. And that is the epitome of what spring represents for me. Thank you for listening.